People have been asking me, Croza, what will you do if Valve releases a stupid ass update that makes you lose 70k? Well, I guess we'll never know. Look at that, boys. The lion is back at an all time high. While the larger market is not all the way back to where we were, we, on the other hand, are at an all time high. Jokes aside, at this point, I think all of you know about the retakes update. Considering it got national news coverage, your grandma probably knows about it. I literally had some old friends DMing me, asking me how my Counter-Strike skins investing was going. Needless to say, it was not going very well. The overall skins market went down from 6 billion to a low of 2.9 billion, over a 50% drop. As someone who's been playing the game since 2014, I can tell you firsthand, this was by far the biggest, most impactful update. It surpasses the OP skins ban, it surpasses the original trade hold. There has been nothing like this in the past. Although this chart doesn't show it because SkinLedger's chart is kind of whack, at the bottom my portfolio was down from 133k to 70k. And I wasn't even sure that I could get those prices if I sold, because some items, like stickers, had literally zero liquidity. I had pretty much given up all the gains I had made throughout the year and was actually negative. I know many skins investing YouTubers are acting like it's all peaches and sunshine, just buy now, the market is going back up. There has actually never been a better time to invest in the CS market. People have been saying all sorts of stuff, but I'm going to be providing a different perspective. And I'm literally up since this update, so you know this is not sour grapes, I'm not coping, this is not me being salty. But before we talk about the broader implications of this update, I'm just going to go over what specifically happened to my portfolio. In some ways, I was very lucky. In some ways, I was very unlucky. Unlike a lot of other investing channels, I actually play the game and I have a lot of play skins that are not investments. And I had a lot of golds. So I had a field tested Pandora's box, which were almost minware. It was worth about 12k before the update. I had a butterfly full fade, which was worth about like 9k. I had a Karambit fade, which was pretty low float. It was worth a little bit more than 4k. I also had a Flip Knight fade, which was almost full fade, and it was worth about like 900 bucks, something like that. So all in all, I had about 25k in golds. Well, at the bottom, literally every single gold was down 80%. So I had lost 20k in just golds. And even though this was not money I had personally put in, this is something I built up over years, this still hurt a lot because this was years of work wiped out in 2 days. You'll find many people celebrating that this, screwed over skins investors who were hoarding skins. But this update hit the people who had expensive golds, the people who actually play the game the hardest. Most investors are not having a significant portion of their portfolio in golds. The only people who have a lot of golds were like a large portion of their inventory value is in golds, are normal players who have one expensive knife and collectors who collect like number one lowest flow or some stuff like that. So those are actually the people that Valve screwed over the hardest. So I took a massive L on my golds. But on the other hand, I was pretty lucky because I found out about the update really fast. Within 5 minutes of the update, everyone in my Discord was pinging me and I found out really quick and I literally ran home to get on my computer within 10 minutes. And I started buying reds left and right. But on the other hand, most of these reds got trade reversed. So how lucky was this in hindsight? We don't know. But I managed to buy 1k worth of reds on Bitskins, which is a bot site like Skinport. So there's like no trade reversals on that. So on Bitskins, I was able to buy like 30 Dragonfires, which trade up into the Hydra Gloves, like Pandora's Box, Hedge Mazes. And so far, those Dragonfires are up 6k. So that sort of, eases the pain of the losing 20k on gloves. Well, it's not 20k anymore, but it was 20k at the bottom. I was also very lucky that I actually have a good amount of, cash that I can inject into the market and buy the dip. So I was able to deposit 10k into Buff. And then I also deposited like 15k into other platforms like Halo Skins. I even had some Steam balance. So I was able to buy reds initially on the Steam market when they were only up like, 10x instead of like 30x. And pretty much all the reds I bought have doubled or more. So this really helped me gain back a lot of the money. I'll admit that on the first day, I was actually very worried. Even though I found out about the update really fast, I actually could not insta-sell my golds because they were on trade lock because I was trading my golds to another one of my accounts. So I was pretty much forced to hold them and see the price drop and drop and drop. But more than just my golds, I was more worried about the larger market reaction. Like how would investors react to Valve basically doubling the theoretical supply of golds How could anyone seriously invest when the market could be fucked with to this extent with no input from the community? I suspected the loss of trust would lead to like a catastrophic downfall in the market. So I was trying to sell like some of my skins that theoretically should not be affected. But then I wasn't really able to sell much of that anyways. By the time I began selling my other skins, by the time I started selling my other skins, the market had already gone down so much that I didn't even want to sell anymore. Then the next day, I woke up and checked Buff, and every gold was down 70% from the day before. And Dopplers and Fades were down up to 80%. And every single non-gold was down like 40%. This was like crazy to me, like nothing short of the death of the actual game should send prices that low. Yes, the theoretical supply of gold was double, but in reality, the actual supply would only increase maybe 30 or 40%, and this would take years. But people in China were absolutely losing it. There were reports of students literally jumping, although I don't think it was real. Like things were just looking really dire. And on Twitter, people were so pessimistic. You had traders who had been in the ecosystem for like 10 years. They were just like, giving up and like moving on. The sentiment was lower than I've ever seen. Meanwhile, on Buff, people were pretty much taking whatever buy orders you put. I was literally putting buy orders that I thought would never hit in a million years, and they were just hitting. It was crazy. At the time, people were thinking that many of the Chinese sellers had actually borrowed money to buy the skins, and now we're just trying to recuperate whatever they could to pay back their loans. But in hindsight, now that everything has been reversed, it seems like they were the smart ones. They were trying to like put a cap on their maximum losses. Meanwhile, they would just revert if the prices went up. As you can see, with the 10K I deposited on Buff, I was buying a ton of knives, and these were all down like 80%. So I was getting what I thought were great deals, but it turned out that pretty much everything was reversed. So in the end, I only managed to keep 3 knives, but even from just those 3, I made about 4.5k profit. If I actually hadn't been reversed on all the other knives, I would have made like 15k extra, and I would have been very happy. On day 2, I was also buying a ton of coverts. I bought like 10k worth, and this was when people knew that trade-ups were insanely profitable, even with the knives down like 80%, yet no one was buying the coverts for some reason. So I made a good amount of money from that, and that really helped me recuperate the losses from the other items that are still down. And over the last 2 days on October, everyone was expecting a crash on October 30th. If you were in my Discord, I was telling people that like when a lot of people are discussing events like this, it's usually always just priced in. And it turned out it really was priced in. And on October 30th, we just started a massive pump. And now we're back to almost 5 billion, which is absolutely crazy. And due to the market rebounding, now I'm actually up to a new all-time high. So in this historic, crazy time period where the market cap literally halved and now is recovering, I actually managed to make a bit of profit. Now that we know what happened with my portfolio, let's talk about the broader implications of this update. So first of all, a lot of people are saying, of course, Valve controls the entire market. They could do something like this at any time. And of course, in theory, everyone knew that, but no one really expected it because destroying the market would greatly decrease Valve's profits. A lot of people don't actually understand this. They think Valve is making no money from the third-party trading, so why not disrupt it? This is a big misconception. Although Valve is not collecting their 15% cut on the trading that happens on third-party sites, just the existence of a third-party site where skins can be traded for actual cash, where skins can go to like arbitrarily high prices, where you can have skins that are worth more than $1 million, that drives so much in sales to Valve. Valve is literally printing money off stickers, cases, armory every single day because of the existence of high tier items like butterfly emeralds. But of course, people can argue that Valve knew that this update wouldn't destroy the market, but I'm not too sure about that. You can never 100% predict how a market will respond to such a large external shock like this. There was definitely a small possibility that this update would have permanently killed the CS skins economy. There was a small chance that that actually could happen, and Valve definitely took that risk. Whether Valve took this risk knowingly or they were just, randomly doing things, that's up for debate. There's also people clowning on those who invested in a digital skins market, acting like we were complete idiots because Valve has, complete control. And Valve has said these items have no monetary value. And to an extent, they have a point. You should never be too invested in something that's entirely controlled by one party who has no obligation to not screw you over. However, to actually believe that Valve thinks that items have no monetary value is laughable. They clearly know items have real worth. That's why they sell so many keys, armory passes. That's why they care about scams. That's why they added the trade reversals. Valve must insist that items have no monetary value because otherwise they would literally be regulated like a bank. But their actions show that they definitely know about the market and they definitely care about preserving it. Or at least that's what their actions have shown up until this update. This update was a huge deviation from the standard practice. It is a bucket of cold water to the faces of investors. We obviously knew that Valve controlled the entire market, but now we also know that they are actually willing to use that power to make huge changes out of the blue without any regard for the skin holders. Suddenly, the investing environment has shifted dramatically, and now investing in CS, especially for the long term, carries a lot more risk. And upon reflection, I'm no longer okay with having such a large inventory in this environment, or at least I'm not okay with my inventory as it is now. Many of you have asked how much money I put in to start my portfolio. Well, originally I started this in 2015 with about $1,000. Over the years, I've put in more money, I've taken money out, and on net, it's actually about $0. But now since the crash, I've put in 20K of my own money. That's significantly more risk for me, so I've already started to sell stuff off. I've already sold about 15K worth of stuff, so technically now I've only net put in 5K. Over the past few months, I want to basically start winding down my portfolio until it's under 100K. So it looks like I still have 56K left to sell. I think if you're still investing in the CS market for the long term, you really need to think about all the new risks that Valve just introduced. Like previously, it was really unrealistic that the market could go to zero very quickly. But now the market definitely has a significant chance of dropping 80 to 90% the next time Valve puts out some like stupid update. And although the chance of that might be really low, but now that's an actual possibility that you have to consider. Once I have less than 100K left, at that point, I will have made over 50K from basically a hobby and I'll be fine losing the rest of the money. Well, I won't be fine, but I'll manage to cope. I'm also planning on changing up my trading strategies. Before, I was just buying for the long term, but now I'm planning to employ a lot more active strategies, and I'll talk more about these in future videos. Anyways, that sort of covers my initial thoughts about this update, about how I fared during it. I'm sorry for the inactivity. I've been away from home. I've been doing a lot of stuff, but now I should be putting out consistent videos every couple days. So expect to hear a lot more from me soon. Before the end of the video, I'll mention one thing that made this market crash a lot less depressing and sometimes even entertaining was hopping onto my Discord and seeing how others were coping. There was a real sense of camaraderie in knowing that you're not alone and there's others who are partaking in this like stupid hobby. The link to my Discord is in the description if you want to join. We actually also do real research and analysis. There's some people already making their own YouTube channels based on the research they started in my Discord. I'll link to one channel below that I think is doing really good work on analyzing sticker application rates. Anyways, that's all for now. Have a great day.